Yeah, good morning, good afternoon. This is Isaac Fadamula from RCMRD. I'm the Spatial Systems Developer. I'll be taking you through development of data dashboards throughout this session. So I'll request for your maximum attention and participation throughout the session. So I'm glad to take you through the sessions. So before we do that, I'd like to take you through the data source where we'll be getting our web map. So you go to your browser, so you'll go to RCoE-mapbook.rcmrd.org. We'll access our RCoE mapbook geoportal or domain. So from there, you go to a tab called SRPCA web map. So you'll click on that. So that's the new platform we're using today for our training. From there, you'll have your map. You'll get 3 layers, 1 for countries, 2 WDPA point latest datasets. And then the last one will be WDPA polygon latest datasets. So the steps I repeat, you'll go to your browser, type RCoE-mapbook.rcmrd.org. So once you're there, you can explore some of our products. We have a mapbook. You can go to the Adventure Hub. But for the purpose of today's training, you'll go to this tab called SRPCS Web Map. This is Eastern and Southern Africa Protected and Conserved Areas Web Map. This is the web map that we'll be using for our training today. So once you click on it, it will redirect you to a new tab, which now contains your web map. If you load it correctly, you'll have 3 layers, 1 for countries, which are covered by the RCoE project. We have the WDPA point latest dataset, and then we have WDPA polygon data latest. Then what you'll be required to do, you'll be required to save this map as your new web map. So before you do that, from the previous sessions, some were trying to save as it is, but before you save, you have to sign in. So you click on the sign in button or section, and then it's within the RCMRD training domain. So what will be required, you input your username here and then your password. Once you're done, you click on sign in. After signing in, you'll have the 3 layers on your left, and then you'll have your username on your top right. So it will be indicating your username, and then you'll have 3 layers, which you can always change the visibility. If you don't want this point to appear, you'll just click on the I button, and then it will be turned off. So our main purpose at this point is to save our web map. So I'll come to the save section. Then I click save as. Once you go to save as, you select the right folder, which you select your right folder. So I have created a folder within my content section. It's called Application of GIS in Conservation. That's where I'll go, save my work. Then I'll give my web map a title. So I'll call this one RCoE, Protected and Conserved Areas. So I'll repeat. So first step, you go to your browser, RCoE-mapbook.rcmrd.org. Once you're on that platform, so we have a platform called RCoE Mapbook. So here you'll be able to access some of the protected and conserved areas maps that we produced. But for the purpose of this training, we shall be using this tab called ESA PCS Web Map. This is the web map that we'll be using to develop our dashboards. So you'll be supposed to click here. So I'll first sign out. So once you load the data sets or the web map, you'll be required to save your web map so that you'll be using it in your creation of dashboards. So the first step before you save is that you must sign in. So you click on the sign in section. Then it'll direct you to our RCoE training platform. You click on the username and then input your correct username as you received from our side. You'll be required to input your password. If you want to be kept signed in, you click on keep me signed in, and then you click on sign in. So once you are signed in, you'll still get your 3 layers. You have the countries, you have the point latest data, and then you have the polygon latest data from the WDPA. And then we'll have the username displayed here. Your username will be displayed here, top right. The first step you do is that you have to save your map or a web map. So you'll click on Save As here. Once you're on the Save As, you'll receive this dialog window. You'll be required to input the title of your map or your web map. So I'll type RCoE web map, rather RCoE PCS web map. PCS stands for Protected and Conserved Areas web map. After I've assigned the title, I'll direct it to the right folder, which I'll be saving my map in. So I'll select a folder called Application of GIS in Conservation. So you're also supposed to create such a folder on your account. Once I'm done with selection of the right folder, I will assign tags. I'll assign tags. So tags are like keywords. Once you have done your datasets, you've saved your datasets, or you've shared your datasets, you can always use your tags to query or to access your datasets from a geoportal or a certain system. So I'll have one tag WDPA, RCoE, and then I'll have another tag for dashboards. So these tags are developed based on the type of work that you're handling or the type of work at hand. Then after the tags, you can create multiple tags. It's not that I'm limiting myself to 3. So you can have multiple tags depending on the magnitude of the work that you're handling. Afterwards, I'll give a brief summary. So a summary, I'll just say a map showing protected and conserved areas. Conserved areas in ESA region. So ESA stands for Eastern and Southern Africa region. Once you've assigned all this, you'll come and say save. So give it time. Based on the strength of the internet, it will take some time, but mine has already saved. So from here, you have your web map, which now has all the datasets that you need to produce your dashboard. Similarly, you can be able to add several layers here. You can either add from a list of existing internet layers. You can have an API or a URL that has your datasets. You can also add from your file, this is from your machine, or you can still create a sketch layer. You can create a root layer, or you can add a media layer. So the layers to be added depend on the work that you are doing. That is on creation of a web map. Now I'll move to the next step, which will now require us to create a dashboard. So from my screen, I'll click on content. So I'll click on content to access my data sets or other items that I will have loaded on my platform. So once you click on content, you go to your specific folder. And the specific folder is application of GIS in conservation. You'll have your map saved here. So it will be RCoE PCA web map, and then the date modified, and the sharing privileges. So for our case, we'll need to share this map to the public, since it can be used in other projects, or it can be called by another user to be used. So for that case, I'll click on sharing this icon, and then I'll click on everyone. So the other option we have is that you have the owner. If you select owner, it will be private. It's only you will be able to access it. And anyone who wants to access it should be able to log in using your organizational account. And then you have organization. If you want to share to specific members of your organization to have access to your map, then you'll select that option. But if you need everyone to access your web map and use it for their own benefit, you'll have to select the option of everyone. And this is basically if you are sharing or you are disseminating your products to the public. So you'll have to have it open to the public so that they can be able to access. Another option here is that you can be able to edit group sharing. So edit group sharing, it means you have a specific group that you want to share your web map or your product or your item with. So only those people in that group can be able to access that item. So for this training, we won't be sharing to any group, but for our convenience, shall be sharing it to everyone. So even of the training, you can be able to utilize our web map. So I'll click on save. Now the icon will change from a single person now to a global icon. You'll let it finish. From there, you'll come and start creating your dashboard. And how do we create our dashboard? So you'll have a section called Create App. So you click on this section. You'll have several items. You have instant apps. So these are simple configurable apps that you can be able to configure as a user. We have Experience Builder. This is for confiscated or complex developments. So if you need to have a complex or a confiscated development within the JS environment, you can be able to select the Experience Builder option. We have ArcGIS story maps. So if you want to tell a story within the ArcGIS environment, you can be able to utilize the ArcGIS story map option. We have the dashboard, which will come back later. And then you have the web app builder. If you also want to create a configurable application with widgets, you can be able to select that option. And the rest, you can be able to create a model or for urban development, which has now interactive planning and designing tools. You can be able to select the urban option. The GeoBeam is when you want to integrate your maps with the BIM or AutoCAD or CAD software, then you can be able to select the GeoBeam project. But for our training today, we shall be able to create a one-page layout summary statistic of our data sets or of our events to help us monitor and make preliminary decisions. So you'll click on dashboards. So I'll repeat. You click on create application, create app. We'll have different options listed. We have instant apps, we have experience builder, we have ArcGIS story maps, we have dashboards. So for our case today, we shall select dashboards. So for our dashboard, you'll have to give your dashboard a title. So this is how it will be saved on our ArcGIS platform. So this is not the name of the dashboard, but it's the title or the identifier within our ArcGIS platform. So I'll give it protected and conserved areas dashboard. So that will be the name within our system. And then I'll add a tag. So I said earlier, these are unique identifiers or keywords. So I can be able to add some few keywords. I'll just say dashboards. So if you go to your system and search your items using this tag, you will get all the dashboards that are within your system or your platform. I'll give another tag ESA. I'll give another tag RCoE. So the keywords are normally developed at the initial stage so that when you are uploading your features or developing your features, you are able to know which identifiers you used. Then on the summary, I'll just give a brief description. So this is a dashboard on ECS in Eastern and Southern Africa. Then be careful on the last step. You don't want to throw your work anyhow. So you'll have to select the right folder so that you are accessing your system, or even if you're not there today or tomorrow, someone else can be able to follow and get your work correctly. So I'll have to select the right folder. I'll still use the application of GIS in conservation. That will be my folder. And then once you've specified all this, you'll come and say, create dashboard. So as it creates, you'll first go to your folder where you have your data sets or your items, click on create application, and then select dashboards. From the dashboards, you'll specify the dashboard title, the tags, the summary, and then you select the right folder. So once you've done that, you'll come to your dashboard builder. So this blank layout, we need to now populate it with our interactive elements. So some of the elements of our dashboard include a map, which now provides the dataset, the spatial dataset, and gives our dashboard a spatial context. Then the other item is on a serial chart. This is a bar graph or a line graph. You can always be able to utilize that to show your trends in your events or your data sets. We have a pie chart, which now shows a comparison between several items or several features within your dashboard. You have an indicator, which is just a value or a status number. You can be able to show what number is in your features. A gauge is a progressive layout that shows how your items or your specific features are progressing. We have a list, which is a common list for selection. You can be able to hit on an item. So it comprises several items in one list where now you can be able to make a selection. We have a table, which now summarizes, is a summary or a tabulated summary of your attributes within your dataset. Then details, you can be able to configure summary details of your dataset or your items within your dashboard. Then rich text, if you need to do any textual information or more context or more information about your dataset, you can be able to utilize this option, rich text, and then embed content. Or if you need to have an iframe or an external item that you want to portray or display in your dashboard, you can be able to use this option. So having explained that, the basic component of a dashboard is the map. Okay. Having a blank layout dashboard, you must add several items. So I'll start by showing the step on how to create a dashboard. So from your platform on the My Component section, you have different folders listed here. So make sure you select the right folder, which is application of GIS in conservation, or depending on your work that you are handling. So everything is normally created within your folder. So you'll click on Create App, and then you select Dashboard. So once you select Dashboard, you give it a dashboard title. This is the name of the dashboard within your content. And then you assign the right tags depending on the keywords that you decided as a development team. And then you give it a small or a brief summary, what your dashboard is all about. Lastly, you assign the right folder. Make sure that you save all your work, all your connected work in one folder so that you don't miss out. Anyone can be able to work on your platform. So you make all the items accessible to anyone. So if somebody else will be required to work on your items, they'll simply go to the specific folder and locate your work. So I'll cancel this and then go back to my blank dashboard. So a dashboard is an interactive platform. So to make sure that it's interactive, you must have several elements within that dashboard. So the first element is what we call a map. Now, this is the web map that we created. It provides the spatial data and gives it a spatial context. So that's our first component. The next component is what you call the serial chart. This is used when you want to portray or show some trends within your items or your data set. A pie chart is a common presentation tool. So it's also used for comparison when you want to compare several features within your data set. Indicator is just a number that shows an absolute number or absolute value of your data set or your item. A gauge is for progression visualization. A list is comprises of several items within an ordered list. A table is a summary of your attributes. And then details is just some few descriptions about your data. Rich text, if you want to have some extra information about your dataset or about your dashboard, you can utilize this option. Embedded content is when you want to call external dataset or an external item within your dashboard. So all said and done, we shall start by adding the first component, which now gives us the spatial data that we'll be using to create our dashboard. So I'll click on map, and then make sure your map has been saved correctly. So I'll select the map that I have just saved. This is the web map that we'll be using. So I'll select the RCoE PCS web map. Click on select. Once here, you can be able to select or you can be able to set your map to show some of these components. So if you allow measurement, you can be able to get units. If you want to get the distance from point A to point B, you can be able to have that capability enabled. You can be able to show legends. Suppose you have more than one layers, you can be able to now show them in their specific symbols. And then you can be able to have search if you want to access a certain location or a certain item easily within your map. You can utilize the search option. Layer visibility is another capability. So this layer visibility, we've said we have several layers. So you can be able to turn off or turn on a specific or a given layer within your map. Then you have the other capability, base map switcher. You can be able to switch from one base map to another. So that means you can be able to change your base map, your reference map from one, let's say from OpenStreet to hybrid or from OpenStreet to another type of a base map. Compass direction, you can also be able to include it if you want. Find my location to be able to geolocate you. and you can be able to zoom in and out. So these ones are normally selected based on what you want to achieve. It's not mandatory to select all of this, but you can be able to select whichever is applicable to your work. Then if you need to show a scale bar, you can either have a ruler or a line scale bar, which you can be able to now use for your measurements. Then when you come to general, so it'll give your map a title. So this is the title of your web map, not the one you used to save, but this is the title of your web map within the dashboard ecosystem. So I'll just give it the name. It's called RCoE PCS. I'll still use the same title, but there's a difference. This is the title of the map within your dashboard. This one is the title of your map within your platform. So if you go to ArcGIS Online, you'll search your map using this title. This is only for your dashboard creation. So from there, you can now come and say done. So the rest can be changed depending on what you want to achieve. So the text color, you can set it to a different color. The foreground color, this is the background. You can be able to change it to a specific color. Then the rest can be left at default. So once I'm done adding my map, I'll click on done. So I'll have my web map added here with all the features that were in my web map. So the next step, once you've added your spatial data or your spatial context map, you now need to add other items. So the first item after adding your map will be your map header, your dashboard header, sorry. So this is not the actual name of your dashboard. This is the name of your dashboard within your platform. But within the dashboard ecosystem, we must rename our dashboard if need be. But if you still need to use this one, it's okay, but it's always advisable to give your dashboard a name or a title. So I'll click on this view, the first item, add element, then I'll click on view. So once I'm at view, you add your title from the header section. So I'll click on header section, and then I'll click on add header. Once you're on add header, now you give your dashboard a title. I'll just copy this, or whichever name is applicable depending on the work that you're doing. So I'll paste my dashboard title. Then I can give it a background or even change the color of this text. So to do that, I'll come to text color. So depending on your branding guidelines, you can be able to choose the right color for your text and also your background. But as for our demonstration purposes, I'll select the background. So I'll choose, since we are in forestry or biodiversity, I'll give it color. Let's say I'll give it color green. And the different shades depend on your branding guideline. I'll repeat. So, and on the text, I can either leave it as black or even change it to a specific color that is appealing to the organization. So I can say, I want it white. So white, I'll give it FFF. So that's a hexacode for white color, white background, or a white text. But if you don't know the hexacodes, you can still select the right color shade of white or go to online platforms and search for hexacodes. Then once I'm done, I can still add my logo here. So a logo, I can come to logo. And then if you have your image hosted somewhere that you need to use it as a logo, you can either paste it as a URL here. But for my case, I want to use an icon. So I'll come to icon section. And then mine is a solution. You can either choose if it's miscellaneous, custom, solutions or point of interest or a hub. So I'll select on solutions. Maybe solution means what you're advocating for when you are developing this dashboard. So for my case, maybe I'm working on biodiversity. So I'll choose any animal or any icon that represents biodiversity. So I have here 2 animals. So I'll just choose this. Once I choose it, I'll also be required, you can either change the color or you can use it as it is. So for that case, maybe I love red. So I'll come and choose the right color or leave it at white. So that's depending on your case. So once I've added that, I'll come and click OK. And then I'll be required either to change the color of my logo or leave it as it is. So for my case, on the fill, I'll come and select a different color so that it's also different from the text and the background. But this one also depends. So you might have your own logo posted somewhere as a URL, or you can add an icon, or you can add as an SVG code. So if you have your logo in form of SVG, you just open it using Notepad, and then you copy the logo script, and then you'll be required to paste it in your SVG provision. Once I'm done adding my header, I'll click on done. So that will be your title, and then that will be your logo. Now, I'll come back to the body. So we were done with the header. So everything you're going to add here, we'll be adding them under the body. Now I'll add another element, which we refer to as a list. So I'll add a list of countries. List of countries. So the first one will be list. So my list will be from countries layer. So once you click on countries, you'll have your countries listed here, but we don't need our countries in these numbers. So we need our countries in their specific names. So what I'll do, I'll come to a list here. And then on the list that we are having here, it's calling from the object ID, but I want it to call from the specific country name. So I'll highlight this and then come to this section. We have this section called insert. So when I go to insert, I'll have to select by country. I'll have to insert a field called country. So you can either insert it as an abbreviated ISO code 3, or if you know the exact code, you can be using it as it is here. But for our case, you want to insert using the exact name of the country. So we have our countries added here. Another thing, we want to remove these polygons that are called symbol. So we don't need these polygons or these features appearing before the name of the country. So I'll go and check on none. So when you check on none, to remove your polygon section before the word or before the list. The other thing, you can enable search. So search, it makes you to quickly access your specific country. It's not mandatory, but it's just a shortcut to getting to your country list. So I'll deactivate it. And then you can change the text color. So I can give it based on the theme. I can give it a specific color that I want. So I'll can select a specific color that I want. So let's say I do green. So if I do green, that will be the text color. So I'll just choose green, or you can choose any other color that suits you. On the background, I can leave it at white. So I'll resize my list item or list element. From here, you give your list a title. So to give your list a title, I'll scroll upwards and then go to general. So because if you just leave this list as it is, nobody will be able to understand what you are saying. Yes, it will show the countries, but what will you be communicating to the user? So I'll go to general and then give it a title. I'll call it ESA countries. So once you are here at ESA countries, another place that you need to modify is where you have the settings, the name. So it's currently listed as list 1. But for your case, you might have like 50 lists and you'll be confused which list you'll be working on when you go back to your dashboard. So to be safe, you have to rename your list based on the item that you've added or based on the dataset that you've added within your dashboard. So instead of list 1, I'll rename it to countries list so that when I go back to creating my interactive elements or components, I'll be able to know the exact list I'm going to select. Then the other thing, you can change your foreground color here if need be, but if you don't want, you can still leave it at white. We have the last update text. It shows you when the list was last updated, but for our case, I don't think you need it. You can either turn it on or you can turn it off. So that's the first item. Once done with configuration, you click on done. So at the moment, we shall not touch on actions because the actions will come later when you want to configure our interaction or our interactivity of our components within the dashboard. So I'll go and click on done. Those are two elements that we've added on our dashboard. We can still add another element. We can add a serial chart. So the serial chart you're going to add is on common designations. So I can just come and click serial chart. So I'll select polygon, this one, polygon latest. And then my category field here will be common designation. So if you study your data, you'll get all these attributes within your data set. So what I'm going to use is so I'll come and say designation, either designation here. So I'll have my chart drawn, but now you'll find out that the chart is not as you expected. It's not as appealing as you expected. So what I'll do, I'll come and select some options here to make sure that your map or your serial chart is as expected. So I'll select one option here. So that's IUCN designations. I'll come and select designation in English. So maximum categories, I can still set it because it's set at 1,000. So I'll have like 25 or 20. Can still set it to 10. So that's maximum designation. Once I've drawn my serial chart, that will be the first step. The second step, I'll come and configure my chart here. So at the moment, it's vertical. but vertical seems to be not so well appealing. So I'll have to reset it horizontal. That will be my horizontal alignment. And then once I'm done with that, I'll have to make sure that they don't have the same color. We need different colors for each bar here, so that an ancient monument is different from area of outstanding natural beauty or areas of buffer zones. What will I do? I'll come to series, the section called series. So at the moment, it's set to be single color. So for our case, we'll have to set it to by category so that it shows a different category with a different color. So if I click on by category, you'll find that the bars now start changing. So each designation has its own color code. That's on changing your colors. Then for people to know what is on this axis, you have to either change it under the category axis or the value axis. But this is not a dataset presentation. It's just a descriptive or a qualitative presentation. So we don't need to assign the vertical axis value or text and the x-axis value. What we'll need is just the title of this serial chart. So how do you do that? I'll come to this section called general and then give it a title here. So this will be common designations, common PCS designations. So that will be the title of your serial chart. And then what I said earlier, you don't have to leave it as a serial chart. You might have several charts within your dashboard. So what you'll do, you'll have to rename this one to the specific item that you're handling. So it will be common designations, so that in case you need to utilize that serial chart in another dashboard or at another location, you can be able to call it with the specific name. You can also have the foreground color. This is the background color, but be careful when you're choosing the background color. You should never choose a background color that will obscure the text or the bar color codes. So make sure, as much as you want to make your dashboard appealing, make sure you don't choose a background color that will obscure your values. So for my case, I'll choose this one since it's not obscuring my values or my bars. So I'll go and click on done. So that will be my third element. Now I can add another element called pie chart. So I'll go back to my element section, click on pie chart, and then I'll still utilize the same polygon dataset. I'll click on polygon, and then I choose which either as a grouped value, features, or fields. So for my case, I'll go and select the features. You can still select the group values. So depending on your dashboard usability, you can always be able to just select any. So for my case, I'll select the IUCN category. So for every protected and conserved area, we normally have the IUCN categorization of your PCA or protected area. So I'll go to grouped values and select IUCN category. Again, if these colors do not make or do not appeal you, you can still change them. So this is not an absolute color code that you must use. So you can always change them, and I'll show you how you can be able to adjust. From this, you'll go to charts, to slices, sorry. On the slices, that's where you'll find all the colors listed here. So if you don't want, if you hate blue color, you can still come and select your preferred color. So let's say I love green. So I'll go and select green color. So the colors are not cast on stone. you can always be able to change your colors to suit what you are communicating. Then I'll give my pie chart a name. So this will be IUCN designations. So IUCN stands for International Union for Conservation of Nature. They normally also have their designations for all the protected and conserved areas within the world. So once I'm done with that, again, make sure you change the title here. So this will be IUCN categorization chart, pie chart. IUCN designations. So the reason we are struggling to, or I'm insisting on renaming these components is that you might leave your work or you might leave the organization and someone else wants to work on your dashboard. So they'll be able to locate your specific component of that dashboard. So that's the reason I'm still insisting on this. Make sure you change. Else, when you'll be doing your interactivity connections, you might lose out on the exact element that you want to link within your dashboard. So that's on custom on the renaming. And then you can also choose the right background and make sure you choose the right background that will not obscure the visibility of your either text or your pie chart slices. So as much as you want to beautify your work, your dashboards to look beautiful, make sure you don't choose a background that will obscure your items so that it communicates clearly. So from there, I'll just click on done. That's my fourth element. So I'll take you through on how you can be able to add an indicator. So I'll add two indicators. The first one will be the total protected areas in terms of polygons. And the second indicator will be protected areas in points. So there's a difference. I hope you discussed with the previous classes. So the polygons are those areas that have already been mapped out and they have the spatial extent. But for the points, the areas that have been identified, or they are known to be protected areas, but no authoritative mapping has been done so far. So if they get ability to map or funding to map, they can be able to have the spatial extent of those protected areas and submit them as polygons. So that's the difference between the two data sets. So I'll click on add element here. Once I'm on add element, I'll click on indicator. And then I'll add two indicators. The first indicator will be the polygon latest. How many polygon data or protected areas have been mapped? Now, this is 5.3K. So 5.3K to someone who is using your dashboard will not be able to understand what it means. Yes, it's 5.3 thousand, but now we want to have this value as an absolute figure instead of this K suffix. So we want to remove this suffix from our data set or from our indicator. So to do that, you'll go to indicator here, and then you move to a place called value formatting here. So on value formatting, you'll have digit grouping, then you'll have percent, then you'll have the last one, which we're calling the unit prefix. So on the unit prefix is where now all this is emanating from. So for our case, we'll turn it off. So we have 5,276 protected and conserved areas already mapped. So once you remove that, you have now the absolute figure as your protected areas. So we need to name this indicator. What does it stand for? So I'll have to have a top text here and a bottom text. So this is what I mean. I'll have polygons. And then here on the bottom, I'll have protected areas. So you have the name of the protected area now being visible. So I'll still be required to change the background or the foreground of this indicator. So you've discovered that for this indicator, I've not used the only one title. So you can still utilize multiple title structures using the option of top text, middle text, or the bottom text. But you will not need the middle text, since the middle text comprises of the calculated value, which is now the total protected areas in polygon format. So what I'll do, I'll come to general, and then I'll still have to change the background color. So you can change the background color. Let me give it light green, this green. Don't give shouting green or any. So depending on the value that you're communicating, you can be able to give it a specific or a unified color. So I'll come and say polygon protected areas. If you need to change the color text, you can still change it to either white or black. So it's not the final color. Then the other indicator that I'm going to add is what you call the total protected areas, but in terms of points. So I'll pick the points. You'll still go to add element indicator and then pick the points dataset. From here, you have the total points as 273. So if I need to give it a title, I'll come to general and then have points here. I'll go to indicator and then have points. Then the middle value is always the calculated value or the indicator value. And then I'll have to have protected areas. Then for uniformity, I'll still have to set it to the specific color code that I used for the polygons. So I don't know the exact color. So I'll have to go and pick it from the polygons dataset, polygons indicator. So I'll click on done preliminarily, and then to know what is in this, the configurations for this section, I'll click on the 3 ellipses. I'll be displayed by 4 options. The first option is to move. The second one is on the settings. The next one is to duplicate, and the fourth one is to delete. So for my case, I want to get the exact settings for this background. So I'll go to settings, and then on general, here, I'll pick the exact color. So this, I'll copy the color code. So once I copy the color code, I'll click cancel and then go back to my points indicator. I'll still click on configure, then go to general. Once I'm here, I'll click on the foreground color and then paste the specific color code that I want to use. So these are hexacodes. So you can always select, but when you're selecting, you remember you might do a different shade from the previous one. So it's always good to use the hexacode. So you'll go and copy the exact hexacode color and then utilize it in your other indicator. Now, so we are assuming we've added all the elements that we needed. Remember, a dashboard should communicate, and for it to communicate, you must know you should not have a lot of components being added. Or if you add, you should always be able to stack them. But for a brief or a preliminary decision-making dashboard, make sure that you don't have a lot of components congesting your dashboard. So now the next step, always remember to save your dashboard. Save your dashboard so that in case of anything, you will still have the last saved copy. That's an important step. So the dashboard is cluttered. So what we need to do, we need to now arrange our dashboard or these components so that they make sense to us. So how are we going to do that? We use the option of moving or dragging item. So to configure or to arrange your dashboard items, you normally use the drag capability or the drag option. So the points can be below the polygons. So to do that, you click on the icon called drag item, you hold, you press and hold, and then you move it using your mouse. So you click on it and then hold. Now, if you want it to be below the polygons, you use an option of dock as row. So you're docking it as row below the polygons element, and then you can be able to resize it like this. Then common designations can be above the pie chart. So I'll still come and do this. Now I'll have to resize my dashboard like this. And then this list can be our first element so that it's on the left. Whenever we want to make a selection, we start from the left, moving to the right. So I'll bring it here. And then now instead of a row, I'll dock it as a column like this. And then I resize my dashboard again. So we need a map to be bottom here, lower bottom. So what do? I need a list as an independent component of my dashboard. So what I'll do, I'll move these polygons row to the maps row. And then I want this to be next or below the polygons. So I still dock it as a row. So it's below. And then I will resize my list element be like this. And then I also resize this. So those are some of the elements that we've managed to add on our dashboard. So I'll still resize this, size this so that it's visible. I'll resize. So depending on the elements that you've added on your dashboard, you can always be able to resize so that you get the right shapes or the right sizes of your elements. Once you've done that, remember to save. Just go to the save button and then click save. Save means you are appending or you are making changes that you've done to reflect on your dashboard. Save as means you are saving it as a new entity within your platform. So once you're done, you can either select, for us, you are saving. We are not saving as. It's our first time, we could have used save as option. So you click on save. Okay, once you're done on save, we said your dashboard must be as interactive as possible so that it's able to communicate. At the moment, there is no interactivity. So the main objective of this training now, of the next step, is to make sure that whenever we select a country here, you should always tally with all these components within our dashboard, from the designations up to the map. So if you click on a particular country, it should be able to now make a selection on your map and then zoom, flash to that specific location and show you the exact country. It will also adjust the specific number of polygons and points within your country, and then common designations and also IUCN designations. So all this is to be covered in our next step. So I'll save my dashboard again. Okay. So how do we configure interactive elements? So we shall configure interactive elements through what you call the actions. How do you access the actions section? So you click on the three ellipses again. You click on configure here or settings wheel. So you want to link our countries to all the items within our dashboard. So if you click on a particular country, for example, I'm from Rwanda, I'll click on my country, Rwanda. So to check what is in my country, I have to click on it, and then all the items within my dashboard will have to agree to the country that I selected. Now, we shall go to the option on your left where I have list. We have a section called actions. On the actions, that's where we shall be able to link our items in the dashboard to the specific country of selection. So I'll click on actions. Now, on actions, we have several options. One, single selection, and then we have multiple selection. What this to mean is that for single selection, we shall only make one selection. For example, if I select Angola, that will be only selection made. But for multiple, it allows me to select more than one country here from my list. I can even select all of these countries. I can select 2 countries. I can select 3 countries. So for our case, we need per country. So that's why we are going to use the single selection option. The single selection option enables you to select one country at a time. Hope that's clear. Then we go to filter option. So we want to filter our list to the values, to the indicators and the serial charts and the maps within our dashboard. So I'll click on filter, and then I'll link it to all these items within our dashboard. So I'll click on that. I'll activate all this. I'll activate all this because we need, if you select a country, it should be able to link to a specific item within our dashboard. But now, there's also another point here. We have fields and then we have spatial. So the two is just the common selection we normally make in ArcGIS or ArcGIS Pro or the previous ArcMap or QGIS. So field selection, it means you are selecting by attributes. So you're marrying one attribute from the source field, another attribute in the target field. They must be the same value. So if it's Kenya, here from the source field, the target field should be Kenya. That's how you do selection by field or selection by attributes and values. So we have option where we select by fields and values. This is the option we are using. So we shall be using the fields by attributes. Now, if you talk about spatial, this is now what you do by location. You select whatever is within that area of coverage or what is in the extent that you're covering. For example, if you don't know the exact field that you want to make, you can select all polygons, all points within Kenya. So you can say Kenya, use Kenya and show or output all the protected areas within Kenya. But we need, since we are working on this, we need to connect each country to its own specific country. So, and for that case, we shall be able to use the option of field, since all the data sets have all the ISO codes. So we shall be selecting using the ISO 3 codes. So the first source field will be ISO 3 digits, this one, ISO 3 digits. And then the target field will be now the specific ISO country. So let me, ISO 3. So we have to link ISO 3 to ISO 3. They have the same abbreviation. So if it's KEN, this one will also contain KEN. So that's the field. Those are the fields that you're going to use to filter our data set within our dashboard. So I repeat the same to all the selections. So it will be ISO 3 digits, which has the same name. And then we have the ISO 3. So don't use the parent. We are using the ISO 3. Those are the only two fields that have the matching values. So you're matching the values within our fields to agree or to tally so that you don't make a wrong selection. I'll scroll down slowly and then select ISO 3. Are you seeing the designations again? We use ISO 3 digits. So you'll find ISO 2. Initially, we had countries being abbreviated into 2 alphabets. That's why it's ISO 2. But nowadays, we have them identified into 3 letters. So we are moving from UG to UGA, KE to KEN for Kenya. So ISO 3 digits, and then we have ISO 3 here. So I'll come and select ISO 3. And then lastly, I still on the polygon, I select the ISO 3 digits, and then I still move and select the ISO 3 as my target field. So what it does, it goes to the fields column, or the fields, which you call the columns, gets the name from the source target, the source, and then goes to the target and identifies the same name, and then filters your data set to that specific component. So that's on setting on the settings on the filtering options when it comes to fields, values, and spatial. So for our case, we are not using the spatial selection. We said we are not selecting by location. Selecting by location means you are selecting all the values, all the items within a specific region. So if we're using a polygon to make our selection, we could have used spatial selection. But here we are certain that the same name that's within source field is the same name that's within the target field. So at your own free time, you can always go through this table. If you click on the data table, you'll get that we have ISO 3 here, and then we have ISO 3 on the other side. So you have ISO 3 digits, which tallies with the same on the ISO 3 code. So you'll have to get that one at your free time. Now, next thing you're going to do is that you're going to set our map to flash. So flashing means you might have selected a specific country, but it's at the bottom there. So if it doesn't flash, you'll not be able to see specifically where the country is. So it has to flash for you to get that attention of its location. So a specific feature, once it flashes, you'll be able to get the attention and know where it is. And then I don't think if we need to show pop-ups, pop-ups, you only use it when you're trying to identify a specific item or a specific feature. So I'll just close this. Now, the other option is on panning. Panning means, so panning is moving. So once it flashes, it should now move, bring that map, bring that feature close to your eyes. So it will move it and bring it centrally on your screen so that you can be able to visualize it easily. So I'll have to use this option because I want you to get the map on your screen and at your convenience for easy identification and visualization. And the next thing I'm going to use is the zoom. So zooming means it now enlarges, it explodes your item or your map so that you're able to see your specific country clearly. So once I've set this, I'll go back and click on done. Initially, we didn't have this interactivity, but at the moment, once you have already configured the features, your icon will now change to a hand. which means you can be able to do a selection. So I'll try here, Angola. So that's what you call by interactivity. So if I click on Rwanda here, so Rwanda, it will flash. That's why you are seeing the blue color. So first, it will flash to show you this, the exact location of the selection you made. Once it flashes, it pans. So if it was on another place on your screen, it will pan it. It will bring it close to your eyes. And then once it brings to your eyes, it will now zoom. So it will explode your map so that you are able to see the exact area of your selection. So these are the interactive elements that we've been setting on our list. So it first flashes, it makes a selection, flashes using that color. You can also change the flashing color. If you want it to be pink, you can still set it to be pink or whichever color you want to portray. So, and then you realize that once you click on a particular country, all these features, all these elements change based on the data set that you might have fed in your attributes table. So everything here is changing depending on your attribute table. So if you work well on your attribute table, you will be able to get specific outputs or the desired outputs. So if your attribute table is done wrongly, so you'll get the wrong values. And you see, when you talk about dashboards, you have dashboards that are used for decision making. So if you make a false impression, so you'll be able to get false decisions. And once false decisions are made, you also get affected. Now, that's on interactivity. Once you're done, you come here and say save. You will save so that it reflects the changes that you've made. Now, another thing you're going to touch on before we finish is on the header. So if you click on the header, you have somewhere written sign out. So we don't want people to be signing out since they have not signed in. So we can remove this and we can be able to add a specific useful element here so that it's easy for people to access external resources while they are on your dashboard. For example, you can even hyperlink the specific web map here that we've used and hyperlink it here. So if someone wants to access your web map, they can simply click here. If you want your website to be accessible from the dashboard, you can still do the same using the option that I'm going to take you through. So you'll go to view, the second icon here. And then on the header here, the header, you go to add on the header here, you click on the 3 ellipses and then click configure. So this item that is written logout, it's on the section called menu items. So on the menu items, I'll have to deactivate it. I don't need it anymore. Since nobody is signing in, I'll click on sign out and then add a quick link. So I'll just say add URL. So my URL will be RCMRD e-learning platform, CMRD e-learning platform. So once I'm there, I'll now go and paste the actual URL to my e-learning platform. So I'll go and get the right URL. I'll double click here. And then once I'm done, I paste it here. So I repeat. So for you to remove the sign out option, you will go to your header here. And then from the header, you'll have to deactivate the sign out option, which is active. So I'll click on deactivate. and then I add a useful link here. So for example, I want you to, when you go to the dashboard, you can be able to access the e-learning platform quickly from the shortcut or the menu links. So I'll have to configure my label for the link, which is RCMRD e-learning platform. And then I paste the destination link so that if someone clicks on that, you'll be able to access my e-learning platform. So for example, if you now click here on the menu, you'll be displayed by RCMRD e-learning platform. So that's how you can be able to remove your sign out option. And then make sure the background text tallies with the your branding colors. Once you're done, you can now go to the done option here. I'll close this option and then remain with my dashboard. So from the dashboard, now you can be able to access your e-learning platform. So you can add as many links as possible depending on what you want your users to access easily. So I'll go to save and then save as. So currently you are in the editing mode. So now suppose you want to see your final dashboard. How do you go about? Again, you'll click on these options. On the top left, we have somewhere written home content, organization, dashboards, dashboard item details, and then you have the rest. So for your case, you'll go to content section. In the content section, you'll find your dashboard here. So you have your dashboard and then your web map. So today we created two items or two contents. We have the web map, which you use to create the dashboard, and then the dashboard itself. So for our case, you have to again share your dashboard first. So at the moment, it's only you who can be able to access it. So if you share it, then you'll have to share with your username or a specific username from your organization. So for our case, you'll need to share it first to the public. I explained this section, so there's no need to repeat. You'll have to select everyone and then click on save. So you let it save and then you can proceed with the next step. Once you're done, you click on the dashboard itself. So you'll have your dashboard displayed here. So for your own benefit or depending on what you're working on, you can be able to customize all this. You can customize the dashboard thumbnail. If you have a thumbnail within your machine or the company logo, you can come and browse here and then be able to put your own logo or a thumbnail that you want to be displayed. So for my case, I'll have to come and select this or any other thumbnail that I want. So I'll select the right one. Let me select this. So that's just a sample thumbnail. It's not the thumbnail that you want to use. So you can have your company logo here or the project logo being displayed here. It's just for your own identification within so many dashboards that exist. Once you've set your thumbnail, you can come and add a description here. This one gives an in-depth description of the dashboard, which is not currently available. You can be able to include it there. You have terms of use. If it's free or it cannot be changed, you can come and specify here. Again, we don't want people to delete our dashboard accidentally. So I'll come to settings here. And then deletion management, I activate it. So nobody will be able to delete my dashboard unless it's me. And it will be able to ask me if I want to delete the dashboard. And from the previous classes, these two were explained. So if it's an authoritative dashboard that can be used to make authoritative decisions and policies, you can be able to mark it as authoritative. So I'll check that option. Or if it's deprecated, you can also be able to check it as deprecated. But once you choose authoritative, the other option disappears, because if you want to discourage people from using your dashboard, then you can put it here so that it becomes as a disclaimer. If you use this item, it's upon you. But if you use authoritative, that means it has the correct details and the correct contents. Now, once you're done, you go to overview again. And then you click on open dashboard. So for example, you want to view now your dashboard. You have two options. You have edit dashboard if you want to make changes or amend, and then you have open dashboard to visualize what you've done. So I'll go with the open dashboard option to see our beautiful dashboard. So this is the dashboard that we created, and in this view, this is a view only. That means you cannot be able to edit your dashboard. So you can be able to interact with the dashboard, and if you want to add anything, you will come back here and go to edit dashboard. So once you choose the edit dashboard, you'll be in the editing mode. You can do whatever you want. Now, the final thing I'd like to show you is, suppose you want to share your dashboard. How do you go about? So the dashboard generates a URL here. So what you'll do, you'll copy this URL and spread it to, or disseminate or share with the specific group of people or group of organizations that you want to access your dashboard. So I'll just copy my URL. I go to the email, compose an email, and send it to the people that I want to view my dashboard. Or if we ask you to create a dashboard for your assignment, that's the procedure that you'll undergo. You'll copy your URL to that dashboard, send it to, or attach it on the e-learning platform so that you are able to access your dashboard. And ensure before you do that, you've changed the sharing privileges. So sharing privileges, make sure you set it to public. If you set it to on our organization, we'll not be able to access it from our side. So make sure you make it public before you share your dashboard for your assignments. So all said and done, you can set your acknowledgements. You can acknowledge some people. You can give credits. You can edit your tags. You can add a longer summary for easier identification and improvement. And then you share your dashboard. You can still track the usage of your dashboard. So if you share your dashboard, you'll be getting these views, how many people have viewed for the last 24 hours, then the average views per day. You can be able to track it here using the analytics. So you can be able to filter, you can give a specific range to your status reports. So that for that few hours, minutes, thank you for your attention. I would like to end there. So unless someone has questions, can be able to now respond to them. Thank you. So you can raise your hand so that we start the question and answer session. Mohammed, you are free to, you can move to Kamalu.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you for this wonderful demonstration. We really learn a lot. And my question is on how to get this protected area web maps of other regions. Like me, I'm from Nigeria, and I would love to maybe develop something like this. So the web map generated was from RCoE. I don't know where to get similar, maybe to develop a dashboard of this kind. Maybe that will reflect some countries of West Africa and any other place. So I don't know how to get such informations. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Kalu. We'll address that question right away. So I'd like to invite my colleague from the GIS team to give you a guide on how you can be able to access the protected areas data for the entire world. So welcome, Eric, to respond to the question.
Thank you, Isa. So for you to be able to update the data for you to be able to use the data for your country, you need to you can go to the protected planets and request for either download your data the same way, use the same procedure we used yesterday or the day before yesterday, or you can go and request for an API. I'll go and request for an API, which you can use to add the data for the whole world, and then you can create your web map, and you can use it for the dashboard.
Yeah, I hope that's clear. Move on to the next question.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for your interaction. So in case of anything, you can always reach out to us via the community. We'll be able to assist you. Teddy?
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
This is Teddy Namathi from Kenya. I really appreciate your proficiency in the presentation of today. I really say thank you. Indeed, you have left an indelible mark on me. And I would like to ask a question.
Yes.
Like, does this ArcGIS online platform provides us capability to use your processing tools like clip tool, so that it can enable you to do spatial analysis, for example, for a protected area within a constituency. Thank you.
Okay, so I get your question. So what I've been displaying, the session that I've been conducting is for you to get the summary analytics or infographics or purposefully made for you to display the interactivity of your data sets. But for geoprocessing activities or processes or tasks, we have what you call ArcGIS Pro. That's a desktop or an offline or an online tool that we normally utilize when you want to do processing of such magnitude or at such levels. So for you to have a dashboard and your web map already done, you must have prepared, processed, and analyzed your data on an ArcGIS Pro. And for that reason, we provided you with the credentials that you can be able to access or log into the software, do your processes, and then upload the ready data on ArcGIS Online. And therefore, from there, you can be able to create some good dashboards and some good web applications. So yes, for the ArcGIS Online is purposely to be used when you are creating these products. But for geoprocessing, you'll have to go to ArcGIS Pro. So the only thing you can do when you are coming to ArcGIS Online, for example, if we have uploaded our dataset and you only need to select a specific dataset, or you filter to a specific dataset or region, that's what you can be able to do it online. So that's on the fly computation. But for complex geoprocessing tasks, you'll be required to go back to ArcGIS Pro.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. So over to you, Raymond. Mwalili.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for the amazing session. It was awesome. And I have a question. When we are creating the dashboard, every change we have to make,
yes,
we have to save manually. Is there hakuna nini some auto save option?
Okay. So Raymond, I get your question. For now, we what Esri has done, it hasn't enabled the autosave. So you make sure you save. So if you don't save, your work will get lost in case of an electricity outage. So you'll not have to have access to your previous copy of your data or your dashboard. So it's still at manual stage. So unless we can be able to suggest that change to, or that suggestion to Esri to enable that feature. So saa hii utatumia tu save manually until that time that Esri developers will have to incorporate the autosave function into their system. So over to you, Edwin Lilei. Edwin, please unmute yourself.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
So my question is on the issue of linking the dashboard and the field data. Assume you've gone to the field and you've collected your data using survey 123. Is it possible to link the same so that it can be updating automatically?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it's possible. So in the next session, progressive sessions from next week, we'll be handling the survey 123. So what happens if you collect your data and you submit it on your platform, you'll have to convert that file to a feature service layer. So the feature service layer enables you to be self-updating your dashboards. So you'll have to create a feature service layer, which now will feed into your web map, and that web map will now be fed to the dashboard. So it will be an automated workflow from the survey 123 data collection. It submits your data to the feature service layer. That feature service layer goes to the web map, and that web map feeds into the dashboard. So it's true, it's possible. So you only need to do the configurations for the automated workflow to be implemented. Thank you.
Okay, so that's what we are going to learn in the coming week.
Yes, you will have to go through the survey 123 and get to know how you can be able to create such a service layer that will be used for self-updating tasks.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Over to you, Yvonne Okoth. Yvonne, you can unmute yourself.
Good morning to everyone.
Good morning.
I want to say thank you for this training. It has really been helpful, but I just ran into a small problem that I need some help on the previous session on schema.
Yes.
We were supposed to download a geodatabase file, which when I tried to download, the files that came were not really my ArcGIS Pro was saying the data files are not supported. So the specific database file was missing, which I was supposed to use to prepare my schema. I don't know how you can help me or whichever the problem was on your side.
Okay, I get your question. So that's very unfortunate. I hope we'll be able to handle it. So what I would like to advise, you can engage us on the community. So we shall assign you the right instructor, the right person to address your issue. And that's from our GIS team. So kindly interact with us on the community. We shall respond to that as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Welcome. Brian Tiago. Hi, Brian. You can unmute yourself. So from Brian, we have Abdikadir Ali Musral. Please unmute yourself. Okay, we move on to Benjamin Risia.
Yes.
That's Benjamin.
No, Abdikadir.
Okay, Abdikadir. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, sir, for the awesome presentation. My question is for the ICT team.
Yes.
I was just trying to do the first assignment in module 1. And then on my way to completion, I stuck on save and open button. When I click it, the save as is inactive. So I sent so many emails to the EVAD and the RCoE email, but I never got any response. I'm still stuck. I don't know what to do.
Okay. Apologies for such an inconvenience. We are going to address it as soon as this session is done. So we have marked your problem as urgent. So we'll work on it soonest. Thank you for the concern.
Okay. If I can even share my email, I can even do it right now so that.
Yes, on the chat. Please do.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome. Benjamin? Benjamin, you can unmute yourself. Hi, Benjamin. Okay, so from Benjamin, we go to Eba Mohammed. Eba, you can unmute yourself and talk to us.
Okay, hello.
Hello.
Thank you very much for the very informative and very useful presentation. I just have two questions. So the first question is about the dashboard. So is it possible, like, if I visualize for like one, maybe one map or for one country, so is it possible to save it as JPEG or photos or images, like to visualize, just to save it in my like PC? And then the next question is also for the common PCS designations. For the bar chart, how did you change the color for the bar chart for different like features? Thank you.
Okay. So the first question is whether you can save your dashboard as a JPEG. So at the moment, you can't save it as a JPEG, but to alternative to that, you can always print the screen. You can get a screenshot of your area of display. Whatever country you might have selected, you can just take a snapshot and then save that snapshot as your JPEG. On question 2 is how you've been able to change the colors of the pie charts. So I'll share my screen. Let me share the screen so that I repeat the procedure. Okay. So when you come to dashboard, so this is the protected area IUCN designation. So on this pie chart, I'll have to go to the editing mode. So you make sure you're in your editing mode.
Sorry, I think for the bar chart, the above one.
This one.
Yeah, the above one, not the bottom one, the bar chart.
The common designation of PCA designation, the serial chart.
Yes, that one. Yes.
Okay. It's the same procedure. You go to the 3 ellipses here. Then you click on configure here. And then once you are on configure, you go to a section called series. On your left, we have data, charts, category axis, value axis, guides, and then the series. So when you are on series, we said initially it was one color. So you can set it to either single color by default to have one color every component or every item. But for our case, we are communicating different information for different protected area. So to make sure that that is possible, you select the option of by category. So it categorizes each designation with its own color. And if you feel you want to change the colors, you can always change individual colors through this section. You come and click on a specific color and then assign it your desired color. So you remember, one, you do the symbolization by category. And then if the colors do not appeal you, you can always go change color by color as you move downwards. But make sure if you want to change individual colors, make sure that the items are very few. Let's say like 10. So if you have like 1,000 fields, then you don't need to go selecting each individual color. You just click by category and then it will assign itself a random color ramp. So from a huge data set, you let it assign its own color ramp. But if you have fewer data sets or items, you can be going and changing the color individually. I hope that's clear.
Of course, thank you very much.
Welcome. So on to the next. So the next
Hello.
person is, yes, welcome.
Hello, this is Benjamin.
Yes, Benjamin.
Yeah, I had a very simple question. Like for yesterday, the live session, I was not there, but there was a link that was shared on Badass, but the presenter was saying that he had it in his computer. So he never shared the link on us for those who are not live at that moment. So how can we get the link?
Okay. So for that, you can get it in your chat box. Alternatively, the presenter will be able to append it or amend it on the e-learning platform, or you can be able to interact with us on the RCoE community so that we can address the issue individually and be able to provide to those who are missing the link so that they can proceed with their work. So you'll receive the link either via e-learning platform or via your email or through the community.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome. So next we have Zigo.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you really for the nice presentation. It was really nice for me. I don't know if my question has been previously addressed. If there is an ongoing restoration data, and that data is ongoing, so how do we, those data will be reflected when we prepare a dashboard. So now we prepare the dashboard and the data collection is still ongoing. And for example, if that area is a restoration area, is there a possibility to document those things? And the other question is it possible to do all these kinds of dashboard and other kinds of activities, GIS training presented here using Quantum GIS? Thank you.
Okay. So that's those are two questions. So the first one is on restoration data. So that one was answered. We answered in the previous person. So what you can do is that when you're collecting your data sets, you make sure you convert that file into a feature service layer. So the feature service layer will be a self-updating layer. Once you submit a point or a polygon or an item, it will be updated automatically, and that feature service layer will be going to the web map, and the web map will now feed into your dashboards. So yes, it's possible to create an automated system of updating your dashboards from the fieldwork. So that's something that can be done. And for more guidance, you can always reach out to us. You can get us through our community. You can also get us through the chat or email. So feel free, in case you get stuck, you can always get help from us. Question 2 is whether you can do the same in QGIS and other software. So QGIS is like ArcGIS Pro. It will help you to prepare your data, do the geoprocessing, and make sure that your data is ready for visualization on online platforms. So for data preparation, yes, you can do the data preparation in QGIS. But if you need to create dashboards in an open source environment, you can now have to install what we call GeoNode. So GeoNode is an open source software that will also provide you with all these capabilities. So under installation of GeoNode, you'll have to create a database, which is a Postgres database. You'll have to have GeoServer installed, which now will host your data, and then the GeoNode also installed. That's another step. That's another process that you have to go through. And then once all that ecosystem is installed on your server, you can now be able to create your dashboards. You will upload the data you prepared in QGIS, and then it will be on GeoNode. And from GeoNode, you can be able to prepare your dashboards. So it's possible, but now the learning curve is very steep. So unless you have a qualified team that will handle all those processes, I will always advise you go to the low learning curve option. So for us, we provided you with the licenses so that you can be able to know how you can do the same on a commercial platform. And if the organization feels is the best option, you can now proceed procuring the licenses from Esri. So I hope I've answered you clearly. So the question and answer session is closed. You can interact with us on the community if you have an issue. So kindly reach out so that we address the issues individually. You can also go to LinkedIn, follow us, and ask us any question that you have. So thank you for attending. Thank you for your attention. Until next session, bye-bye.